Hey everyone, Colin,
Jesse.
Seasons Off Grid. So we told you we would come back with a video talking about some of the important things that you need to initially get started out here. A couple of products that Jesse and I have used that we think are good quality, tried and tested. These are items that are basics to get you going that you're gonna need. A lot of people don't think about it, self-explanatory, but still, we're gonna go ahead and list off some items. Not only that, but if you look down in the links below, description below, there are gonna be links, Amazon links, which we do have an affiliate, so this does help us out. We do get a small payment from Amazon when you order these products from these links. Anyhow, without further ado, you've decided to move off grid. These are things that you can start to slowly order or order all at once that you're gonna probably need out here. So these basic items will get you going, get you started. Eventually we're gonna put out more and more. Let's check them out. One of the first things that you want to think about is water. You need a place to store water. You need a way to get water. One of the things that you're going to need is a water tank. We've put a couple of tanks up that we think that you will get some use out of that are basic to get you going.
We got down one that's a 50-gallon tank, so it's not a lot of weight. So if you have a vehicle that can't carry a lot of weight, we're starting off with the 50-gallon. And then I've got one on there that is 100 gallons.
Both good tanks. They'll carry a lot of water. Got to remember water weight. Calculate how much your vehicle can carry and buy a tank accordingly.
The other water tanks that we're talking about is an IBC tote. These are water tanks that you can hold anywhere from like 275 gallons to 325 gallons.
One of the places that you can find a 275 or a 320, 375 IBC tote is you can go on Craigslist in your local area and look around.
So one of the other things you're going to need is a water hose, so you can transfer water out of your water tanks.
There are different size hoses. There's a 1/2 inch. There's a 5/8. We recommend a 5/8. Most pumps work with a 5/8 water hose. We would recommend a water transfer pump. You can hook that up to your tank, transfers water from one to another. You can use it to transfer water into an RV tank. You can use it for all kinds of different things just to transfer water. There's also an adapter that goes onto different totes. The adapter hooks onto the different tank sizes so that you can then put a garden hose. We recommend 2 hoses. And the reason why you want 2 garden hoses, you want to go to the pump, from the pump to whatever you're pumping into or extracting from.
Berkey water filter. With the Berkey water filter, we've been really happy with the clarity in the water. We also got links where you can also purchase the water filters for the Berkey as well.
How are you going to power some of these items? So you're going to need electricity. There are a few different ways to make that happen. So you can buy an everyday generator, like gas. You can buy a propane. There's solar. You can also buy a Jenny that's gasoline and propane. Those are a really good generator. If you run off propane, you're not going to have to change the oil in the generator as often. It burns cleaner. If you run off gasoline, you're going to have to change the oil in your generator every 12 to 15 hours, depending on the specification. The nice thing about something like one of these solar power generators is that you get yourself a couple of 100-watt solar panels. You plug them in, you set it out in the sun, charges every day, and you have electricity. You plug into it, they're quiet, they don't really make any noise at all. You can use them inside. You can run most of your systems. The larger you get, the more power you're gonna have. I would recommend a solar generator. They're a little bit more expensive, but in the long run, I think they're gonna pay off. It's also a good idea to have both if you can. If you can afford both of them, I would get a gas propane, like a 2,000, 3,000 watt generator, and then a solar generator.
First aid kits. You're always going to need a first aid kit. You could cut yourself really bad, somebody else gets hurt, so you'll be able to help your friend or your neighbors, even your animals. So we also recommend a first aid kit.
You're going to need things like something to cook in. One thing that we recommend is cast iron. Cast iron's sturdy, lasts forever. It'll last you generations. A good cooking pot, Dutch oven, a skillet. You can use them on a campfire. You can use them on a gas stove and a trailer. They're virtually indestructible. If you're a coffee or a tea drinker, something like a French press, you don't need electricity to run it. You just throw your coffee in there. You put your water in a kettle, good kettle that we recommend. There's also an oversized French press, a good sized French press. They work fabulous. They last forever.
So camping plateware, got this enamel on it, and it's really very durable. You can buy it as a set where it comes with coffee cups, plates, bowls.
The other thing about the metal flatware plates and all that is that they're metal, so they're extremely durable. You can drop them, kick them, knock them all over the place, and they're gonna last you for years and years and years if you like.
Also, the other thing I want to talk about is chairs, outside camping chairs, so you have something to sit in.
Walkie-talkies, communication. You're not always gonna have cell service. You can buy walkie-talkies that have a 20-mile range, 25-mile range that you don't need a license to operate. We're gonna go ahead and put some links down below as well for these. They're not too expensive. They're great quality. Say, for instance, you're separated by 5 miles or a couple of miles. Something happens, you get a flat tire, you get injured. They're always a good idea to have on you and have around so that you can communicate with the people in your area. And say, for instance, you do get a flat tire. So there's a couple of options that I would recommend: that you have a battery operated tire pump and that you also have a 12-volt plug-in tire pump. They're both fairly cost effective. The 12 volts are quite cost effective. You always want to be able to fix your tire if you can. There's also some tire plug kits that we're going to put down there. They're good to have when you're driving down the dirt road because, especially if you don't have the proper tires, like an 8 or 10 ply tire, you can get holes in your tire and a flat tire. If you have a plug and a pump kit, you can plug your tire, air it up, and with the walkie-talkie, you can give someone a call and say, hey, here's what's going on. I'll be all right. I have the necessary tools to take care of this. Now, a battery car jumper. Okay, you're not always going to have power. You can't necessarily plug into a solar power generator or regular generator to jumpstart your car. Batteries do go dead. It happens. Your car's sitting there for a few weeks, you have a slow leak and the power's somewhere. You're going to need to jump it. We're putting a link down below to a jump starter that we recommend. It's cost effective, very durable. I've used it 1,000,000 times and it's a good one.
A fire smoke alarm is something that you're really going to need out here. And if you can get a fire smoke alarm with a CO2 detector on it as well, recommend that. If not, then buy the CO2 fire extinguishers. You're going to need a fire extinguisher. You never know. You never know what's going to happen. If you have a fire and you got the fire extinguisher on your wall or somewhere where you know exactly where it's at, and you can keep yourself from a huge disaster in your home.
One other thing that goes along with the fire extinguisher and the CO2 and smoke alarm, propane heaters in the wintertime. There are a couple of different kinds of propane heaters. There's vented and non-vented. A lot of people use non-vented because of the cost difference. You're looking at $1,000 cost difference. The problem with a non-vented propane heater is that you can suffocate. With a CO2 alarm detector, that greatly helps you in the wintertime when you're running a non-vented system. Always crack a window, keep the heater close to the window, not all the way open, just crack a window, keep the heater close to that, maybe a couple of windows, crack it a couple of inches so that you can get some sort of fresh air. You're gonna have to have that. CO2 alarm, fire extinguisher are an absolute must anywhere you're living off-grid. We'd recommend them on-grid. It's just a safety thing.
Propane tanks. You got propane tanks that come from 20 pounds all the way up to 100 pounds. And the best thing you can do is try to figure out which one you can pick up. Sometimes people cannot pick up the 100-pounders. So there's 40 pounders, there's 30 pounders, and of course I just said 20 pounders as well. They're gonna be ways to heat up your trailer or your tent that you're living in, anything that you're living in. It'll be a way to heat your house in the wintertime. Propane gas grills. These are grills that Colin and I have used, and we got links down below to the type that we use, and we got 2 different sizes that we're recommending for people. And they're great grills, so you can barbecue outside, especially if you're living in a trailer or a tent. You can have something to cook with outside.
Flashlights, an absolute must. Gotta have flashlights. I recommend a couple of different sizes. You can buy packs of flashlights, a pack of 4, a pack of 6, little bitty flashlights that you can recharge off your generator or your Blue Eddy or whatever. We have a couple in the description that we like, that we've used. Get yourself a larger flashlight and smaller flashlights that you can carry around with you in your pocket quite easily. They're an absolute must out here. You're going to use them all the time. Rechargeable are great. You don't have to have rechargeable. We recommend rechargeable. Storage bins, storage totes. You're going to have all kinds of stuff. You're going to acquire stuff over time. Things to store your food in, your toiletries, your blankets, your pillows. We recommend totes that are lock top or clip top lock. You know, you put the top on little clips or screw on a bucket. These kinds of totes help with things like weather, rodents, bugs, all these sorts of things. And you're going to be storing everything in these totes for the first little while. You can slide them under your trailer, under your vehicle. You can put them in places and really not have to worry about them. Highly recommended, cost-effective storage solution. These totes are great.
Mountain House freeze-dried food. You're not always going to be eating it. It's always nice to have something there for an emergency, just in case you can't get into town. Muddy roads, there may be a day, there may be a week you can't even get out of your property. So it's always good to have a backup.
The other thing about Mountain House and freeze-dried food is that it's cost-effective. It lasts forever. I mean, it has a shelf life of 15 to 20 years. They're properly sealed. You throw them into a tote, you leave them there, and you forget about them unless you need them. Say there's that morning when everybody's hungry, you don't have an hour to cook a bunch of food, whatever. Throw some water into a bag of Mountain House, rehydrate it. They're not that bad. I mean, the flavor is actually quite good. I actually bought a bunch of them at one time because we enjoyed the spaghetti and meat sauce so much. I mean, it was, why make a big batch of spaghetti when you just do it up? They're great. Gas cans, absolute must once again. You can get a 5-gallon gas can. You can get them a little bit larger than that, but we recommend a 5-gallon gas can. Now, there's different types of spouts on these gas cans. Some work in the newer cars today, some don't. Some work in the older cars, some don't. We recommend this particular gas can. They're a little bit pricier. They have a flexible nozzle on them. They have a squeeze trigger pump. They're quite exceptional. Like I said, a little bit pricey, but they're really easy to use. They work on all the new and older vehicles. We would recommend that you get at least 2 of them, and then you purchase some fuel stabilizer. Follow the directions on the fuel stabilizer. Pour a little bit of it into the gas can, fill it up, it'll mix well. It'll last for 1.5 years, if not longer, stored in the right situation. You want to carry at least 1 gas can in your vehicle with you.
Hats, all different kinds. You can have cowboy hats, straw hats, baseball caps. And look, I really need it because if I'm outside working, I want to burn the top of my head or my face. You want to just protect yourself. So we've got some hats down in the links that Colin and I have used, and we've been happy with them. Highly recommend buying hats for your delicate little bald head.
Wintertime, summertime, you're gonna need a hat. Some areas are extremely sunny and you don't wanna cook your little noggin.
And also, we'll put some links down on some beanies as well for the wintertime to keep your head and your ears warm.
Very important.
Bath towels, toiletry items. Some of the towels that we've used and the toiletry items, we've got some links down below that we'll share with you guys as well.
100% cotton, good quality. They're large enough, big, but not too big. Set them out in the sun and it'll clean them nicely. Beautiful 100% cotton towel. You don't want that acrylic stuff. And they're cost effective too. Trash bags. You're gonna have some garbage, so you're gonna have to get some trash bags. We recommend some high quality 3-ply contractor bags. You can put a lot more in them. They carry a lot more weight and they're worth the amount of money.
Fans, something you're gonna need out wherever you're living. You're gonna need a way to keep yourself cool. This low powered is something you can run all night if you need to.
Battery operated clock. You always want to have a cheap one. You can get a real cost-effective, inexpensive, battery-operated clock. You know what time it is. Your phones aren't always going to work. So that's another thing.
Ladders. We've got 2 that we've liked that we've used out here. There's 2 different sizes, and we'll have those down at the link. If you need to get up on top of your trailer or you need to get up somewhere high, you're able to do so.
It may sound silly, but a broom. Brooms are key. You've got all kinds of dust and dirt. You get mud on your shoes and everything else. It's always good to have a broom to keep things tidy and when you're walking around in your socks or barefoot so that you're not tracking everything everywhere. So our next video, I think we're gonna do shelter. We're gonna start talking about different kinds of shelters, different things you can purchase that'll work, what your comfort levels are, different sizes, ways to build things out.
Yes.
Yes.
Thanks for watching, guys. We really appreciate it. Give us a thumbs up or likes. Make any comments down below. We love to hear what you guys have to say.
We'll see you next time.